with the question now. We are all inquirers. The great divide, that's what I called it. One side is A, God is non-existent, fictitious. B, God is relevant, factual. Why is the debate going on and on for century after century? I really don't know, but there could be a reason, and I think this is what it is, because of the way we structure the debate. And here is how we normally do it. We take sides first, and then pile up an argument upon an argument for us, for my side, and then point to the other side and knock down their arguments. So there are two columns of argument, mine and yours. But that's because we took a position beforehand. A person who is an inquirer doesn't take a position. He stands back and looks at both of them. And if you do both, then you will have to have 4 columns of argument. You take A and have an argument for A and an argument against A, pro and con. And then you take B and have an argument for B and an argument against B, pros and cons. And an inquirer, when he is faced with 2 options, has 4 lines of argument, whereas normally we just jump into it with 2. And when you have 2, you will not make much headway for the simple reason that there is enough of evidence for both of them, and there are enough of gaps to show that they are not relevant enough. Whereas if you do this, and I call it the pan process, pan meaning going across boundaries. Pan also stands for a process of sifting, trying to differentiate between common sand and the gold. Panning for gold? Yes. The third is Pan, my family name. Pandit, P-A-N, is the first 3 letters of my name. It's a pan process. And I did that for the simple reason that I was on an inquiry mode. It'll keep you there following the pan process. And here it is. Why do we do that? Because there are 2 clear-cut attitudes and claims. Look at this statement here and watch the word precisely. The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, no evil and no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. That's Richard Dawkins, the most vocal, he's a professor of biology from Oxford, one of the most vocal atheists today. The next sentence is from Patrick Glynn. The seemingly arbitrary and unrelated constants in physics have one strange thing in common. These are precisely, got the word? Precisely the values you need if you want to have a universe capable of producing life. There is no good reason for an intelligent person to embrace the illusion of atheism or agnosticism. Both are using the words precise, referring to facts and evidence, and yet reaching diametrically opposite views. So, we've got evidence obviously on both sides. We've got to do a good check on both sides. So we go to the arguments. The pan process has these 4 arguments for A. A meaning there is no God in existence. And B meaning there is a God in existence. Let's get on with the arguments. Number 1. Option A, God is non-existent. Arguments for that statement, none. Do you know why none? Because the statement is a negative statement. There is no God in existence. There isn't a God in existence. It is a negative statement, and a negative statement is valid only when you have exhausted all the possibilities. Let me give you an example. Suppose I have to state that there is nobody in this room by the name of John Smith. How many people should I be familiar with in the room? Everybody. And only after I have gone to every one of you and got your name can I make that statement. I usually give another example because a mighty big long name is the longest name in the United States. Suppose there are 10,000 lakes in the United States, and I say there is not a single lake by the name Chargogagog Manchaugagog Chaubanagan Gamaug. That's a real lake. That's a real name. It's the Native American language. It's a lake up in Massachusetts. And the translation of that is, I fish on my side of the lake and you fish on your side of the lake and nobody fishes in between. Chargogagog Manchaugagog Chaubanagan Gamaug. Just suppose, I just throw it in for trivia. Just suppose we say there's no lake, none of the 10,000 lakes in the United States has that name. How many lakes should I be familiar with? Will 9,999 do? No. You must know all the 10,000 lakes, and only then will that negative statement be valid. Let's translate that concept to this idea of God. If we are going to say there is no God in existence, then well, let's first take the claim that there might be a God in existence. And if there is a God in existence, then there might be a location for him. He might be located somewhere. Are you familiar with every nook and corner of the state in which you live? Country? How about the world? Been to the moon? What if he has set up his office on the dark side of the moon? Been to the sun, 93 million miles away? Been to any of the other suns? Do you know how many other suns there are in our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy? 100 billion stars. Been to any of them? That's one galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. If we ask the astronomers, how do they guesstimate how many galaxies there are in the universe? Do you know how many there might be? What is the guesstimated number of galaxies in the universe? They look up, in one angle and then calculate the area there and then extrapolate it to the rest of the universe. 125 billion galaxies. Been to any of them? Even if you had gone to 99% of the galaxies, there would still be a billion galaxies still to go to. By what stretch of imagination can we now say there is nothing out there that I can call God? What if he is there, somewhere there? And therefore, we say that a statement in the negative cannot be valid until you have exhausted all the possibilities. Furthermore, if you and I can walk around, move, don't you think if there's a God, he also could move around? Just a simple logical question. If I can move, don't you think he can move? Of course he should be able to move if he gave me the ability. Well, then, if I go looking for him in Canada, he may have gone to India. And if I go looking up the North Pole, he may have found his way down here to Australia. So for me to say he is not anywhere, are you with me? For me to say that he is not anywhere, not only should I know and be familiar with every point, I should be at every point at the same time. Knowing every point is known as omniscience, and being at every point is known as omnipresence. These are the attributes we give to God. So for me to really stand up here and say there is no God in existence, I must have the attributes of God. It's a tangled knot, and there are no arguments in that column.